This is the HP Elitedesk 800 G3 SFF. SFF standing for small form factor. Let's go over the outside. First thing that is very obvious, it boasts about having a Core i7 V Pro. You got your generic branding over here. An optional SD card reader, meaning you can buy an SD card reader and integrate it over here. Got a USB Type-C port, 2 USB 3 ports, 2 USB 2 ports, 2 headphone jacks, obviously one of them is for the microphone, and then this little LED indicator and the power button. It may not be visible at first, but this is an optional disk drive. No need to show you the sides because it only has serial numbers and all the QR code stuff. I don't know why mine came with this weird sticker. It's weird. Right, so now we're in the back. This is the power supply port, obviously. Some epical ventilation kind of stuff. Here is a sticker written in French. This says formatted. Got this little lever thing that can open the central unit with. You got 6 USB ports extra, so that makes it 10. The Ethernet port, the VGA port obviously, more ventilation or something, more headphone looking jacks, and I have no idea what this is. There are 2 display ports. As you may notice, there is no HDMI, and that sucks. Obviously what I've got plugged over here are the Wi-Fi USB bungus, and this is for the mouse and keyboard. What I have as a screen is literally just a TV. Its resolution is 1366 by 768, so 720p-ish, and it doesn't look like an IPS LCD. It looks more like an OLED. Here in this grainy view we find our Logitech keyboard and mouse powered by literal batteries. Damn it. And yes, I am using the VGA cable. Here we are in our ever so epic task manager, and the CPU here specifically is a 6th gen Core i7, which was released in 2015. Keep in mind this desktop mainframe that I have is used. Its base speed is 3.4 gigahertz. Compare that to my miserable laptop with its Core i5 10th gen clocked at 1.1 gigahertz. See, base speed 3.4 gigahertz. Insane. And as for the memory, it has 8 gigabytes of RAM. Now I know some people will say, well, that's not enough to do anything or something. I'm thinking about upgrading it, but I'm not using it much. Here are some extra specs about it. This computer supports 64 gigabytes of RAM maximum. Only 1 slot is used, and I have 1 RAM stick in it. Now, there's no dedicated GPU, which will make the gamers cry, but it's an Intel HD Graphics 530. This integrated processor, by the way, is so old, it literally supports Windows 7. You can read this stuff if you care. There you go, more details. And the part that shocked me, considering the price that I'm going to be talking about later, is the storage. It is a 256 gigabyte NVMe SSD, which, again, when I'll tell you the price, it's literally shocking. I'm talking about the central unit itself. Now this came with Windows 10 installed, but I installed Windows 11 using Rufus because this 6th gen Intel Core i7 processor is not even supported with Windows 11. But it works just fine. Excuse this horrible camera angle, but this is just gonna be a boot up speed test. I've got the iPod Touch 2G, and as soon as I click the power button, I'm gonna start the timer. 3, 2, 1, go. You can see me in the reflection, hello. See it loading. Hello again. Login screen. There you go. 15 seconds! Literally, with this $600 laptop that has a hard drive, I wait something like 4 minutes! On Windows 11, this is not a deep-loaded install. This is a normal Windows 11 install, well, with Rufus, but it's not light. This is on a clean install of Windows 11, by the way. Or clean-ish, because back then it used to take 4 minutes. Now it's somehow improved. Now you can always put a 3.5-inch hard drive in this, alongside a 2.5-inch SSD. Again, there's the NVMe spot. Alright, so since I'm being held at gunpoint from a bunch of nerds, I'm gonna do a gaming test because they don't acknowledge that there's a thing called a console. Anyways, let's go easy, Obby, and do a speedrun. Speedrun, will I get groomed? Alright, so it seems like we're getting a solid 60 FPS. That is pretty expected. This is Roblox overall. Check out my username though if you can read it. Obviously Roblox will work, so we gotta try something else. Now, I'm not gonna try Minecraft because that's a joke. And I don't wanna get T-Launcher because it could have malware and I really don't wanna infect this computer. It's just new. Okay, I'm actually getting distracted, no. Now I'm gonna do a test of the integrated speakers because the VGA cable can't transfer audio. So here we go. This is at max volume, by the way. Gotta do that YouTuber rule where you're the only channel that exists. So you're gonna be doing the speaker test or the video test with your own videos. Yay! So again, this is at max volume. So we all pretty much know what autotune is. Nearly every singer uses it nowadays. It's the magical tool that can make... As you can hear, it distorts really bad. So you really gotta either get an HDMI cable or a pair of speakers. Otherwise, these just work. Our next game is going to be Brawlhalla. Yes, I did create a whole new Steam account for the first time in my life, just for this vid. Okay, there we go. How do you play this? As expected, a solid 60 FPS. Wow, I suck. Our next game is Stumble, guys. Yes, I know they're not 3D fancy things. What do you expect from 8 GB of RAM and an integrated graphics card? It's a game you can play it on mobile. This has got to be the saddest gaming tests you'll ever see on YouTube, and I will get that badge proudly. As expected, a smooth 60 FPS. Okay, that's the gaming test. I know this isn't the most accurate gaming test, but you're gonna have to do a few upgrades. Now, for the price of a decent HP monitor, you can get yourself a low-profile GTX 1050 Ti graphics card, 4 gigs of VRAM, and of course you can always upgrade the RAM. For like 20 bucks, you can add an extra 8 gigs of RAM stick, and there you go, 16 gigs of RAM. Maybe if you use virtual machines or like video editing software and you just want something to keep your files on, you can always get like a 1 terabyte 3.5-inch hard drive. Again, these are just a bunch of suggestions for upgrades. Maybe if you're crazy enough, you can go upgrade the processor if you can even afford it, because yes, the processor is indeed replaceable in this desktop. Now, I don't have no Vegas Pro or Premiere Pro because I don't want to crack things already, but I did try once, and Vegas Pro was able to run two 1080p 60 FPS videos overlaid using the preview quarter setting. And it was able to play 1080p 60 FPS video using the preview full option. So here I have Kdenlive. Let me know if you want a video on like free video editing software like a tier list or something like that. So here I am dragging literally a 4K 60 FPS video clip, which is too much. So my phone decided to generously die midway through the recording, so now I'm using OBS. Recording at 720p, 30 FPS presumably. Here I've got a 4K 60 FPS video and a 1440p, in other words 2K. You already know what that is, with a background music going on. I'm gonna put some effects, grain and noise, because that always just eats up. Whoa. That looks stupid. Talk about open source. Nervous. Let's see the playback now. Again, keep in mind this is a 4K 60 FPS video and this 1440p video. So if we leave this alone, that was my best way of trying to test the video editing capabilities. Obviously, you're not going to be expecting some epic 4K footage editing or whatnot. I don't know. And you'll definitely want to get more RAM since it likes to eat itself up for some reason, probably because this is Windows. Also, excuse the horrible audio quality. I don't know why this happens. Alright, now it's time to talk about prices. I got the desktop mainframe itself for around 161 bucks. Again, I'm doing the raw conversion of the Moroccan currency. And for some reason that wasn't included with the power supply, and that in and of itself costed around $28. Just as an extra little fact, the power supply that I bought for this didn't work, so then I had to get a replacement one. Don't know if that counts. That shouldn't count. There's the DisplayPort to HDMI cable, around $5. No idea for the VGA cables. The mouse and keyboard, $33. As for the Wi-Fi USB adapter, I found it lying around at home and I had a leftover just TV, so I got them for free. So for the grand total, it's around 220 bucks, at least for me. That is if I convert the currency of my country to the American currency. Now, we would yap about the approximate price tag of upgrading fancy graphics card and whatnot, but there's already a billion YouTube videos about that. And the price stuff I've shown you is just, of course, based on my experience without really any kind of upgrade. With that, I think it's safe to say that this bungus deserves the price tag as a starting point for your gaming PC or a video editing machine. Again, that is if you don't count the monitor. It's very upgradable. It's not too big. There's an even smaller version of this, and there's an even bigger version of this. So I definitely recommend getting this if you're not going for something like a Dell Optiplex. As a side note, if you notice that I no longer upload for a very long while, that's because of school. Also, if the production value of my edits just falls down dramatically, that's because I'm either learning Kdenlive or using KineMaster. Hey, so we appreciate it, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Peace.